Yeah, it's
Hey,
the
good morning.
average
This is
total.
Carlos. Sorry, Brian. I'm on. I'll put myself on mute. Just want to let you know I'm on.
No, you're actually the guest of honor.
Oh boy, too early for that, man.
No, this is the informal meeting. I asked the guys if we could have you hijack the call because right now we're kind of talking about the CARES Act loan, and
Yeah.
they had a lot of questions, and I was trying to answer them as best as I could. But I figured, hey, you just texted me and said let's jump on a call, so let's do this.
Very cool, man. Excellent.
You,
Well,
you
good morning, everyone.
Yeah, you
Good
want
morning.
to give them
Good
a
morning.
quick little overview of yourself, and then
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for letting me jump in. I'm Carlos. I've been in banking for too long now. I think I was talking to Brian the other day. I think it's 22 plus some years now. I've been in lending and retail and marketing, all related to banking all my career. Um, I'd worked currently with Bank of Southern California, which is a bank that's really primarily focuses on, if you look us up on the web, on business lending and commercial lending, and just deposit and trust accounts. That's really kind of our niche. That's what we do. I've been with the company just close to 2 years now, and interesting times. I was checking out some of the videos that Brian had shared, and I really commend you guys for really kind of being early adapters of just not the technology, but just thinking about how to keep your business going. I think that's really important. The last 2 weeks, to be quite frank with you, and I was sharing this with Brian the other night, have been very interesting, right? I mean, we've got so many folks, and it's been one of the situations in which I do a lot of business development, a lot of networking, and a lot of things I ask is like, hey, what kind of relationship do you have with your banker? But we haven't gone through something like this in such a long time that it feels like more of a cliche prior to this coronavirus things happening, right? It's like, oh yeah, my banker, whatever. But I think now it's really important to kind of disseminate some good information out there. And as I was telling Brian, we're still waiting for the package to be approved from Congress and what have you. But here's some early stuff that we've been able to pull, and this is what we're sharing our clients and our prospects and other folks as well. So I just wanted to share that, and I don't have the answers to everything because everything's still very fluid, but I will gladly take some notes if there's things that I can't answer. But this is where we are right now, and that's about it, Brian, on the intro. Sorry, I'm a talker, so I can go forever. So I'm gonna stop there for a moment, and I know I have my document open, so you tell me when it's appropriate to maybe like talk about it, or what do you want to do next?
yeah, no. And anybody have any questions right now?
No, let's jump into grilling Carlos about the bill.
So look, my understanding is today, they're going to have the final vote. It's going to go to president to sign. By Monday this should be implemented. I will tell you this. It doesn't come as quickly as everyone wants it to be, right? At this point, I think the primary goal and target is for the businesses that are being impacted right now to keep their employees, and this is kind of this is the paycheck protection program of the entire bill that they're passing, right? The cool thing about this is that it gives a lot of latitude when it comes to what you're able to use the funds for, right? If your business has been affected by the coronavirus, which most businesses are, like 90+% have been affected, right? You can use it for payroll expenses. You can use it for insurance. You can use it for your mortgage on your business, your lease, any of those. So they're very flexible when it comes to that. The thing that I want to highlight, and I'm going to put this into numbers in the next one, but the one that says no payments will be due from borrowers. That's the one thing I want to point out for you guys to consider. When you are choosing to apply, however you need to do it, right? That if the loan might be able to be forgiven. And I bolded that last section. The loan forgiveness is equal to the amount spent during an 8-week period after the origination date of the loan. And in talking to some of my underwriters and some of the folks, I said, well, what does that really mean? What I'm understanding is that they don't want the businesses to get this money and they just keep it on the sidelines and not do anything with it. So they're going to try to incentivize businesses to actually, hey, if you go through the whole process of applying and you do get this loan, don't keep the money, use it for payroll, use it for what it is, and obviously they're gonna, I don't know how they're gonna do this. This is kind of where the rubber meets the road, right? I mean, do they disperse it as you use it? Do they give a line of credit? It's going to be interesting how that gets tracked. But they want people to use the money within the 8-week period. So just kind of keep that in mind. I'll go through a couple of the other things, right? I mean, just about every business is going to be eligible to do. Don't have any particular rates at this point because obviously it's still a loan in case people don't use it and you have to pay a portion of it. It's still a loan, so you're going to have to be a rate. The other SBA disaster program that's been going on, their rate has been set at 3.75 for most businesses and 2.75 for nonprofits. So I'm believing, because rates are at pretty much zero from the Fed currently, that it's going to be very cheap money at the end of the day in comparison, right? I mean, a month ago, I'm, dealing with packages that we're looking for, in the 4s or 5s, depending on if it was a line of credit or a commercial loan. The other thing I wanted to just kind of point out is they don't really have a minimum per se, right? So it all depends on the size of your business. I think there's going to be a formula that's going to be talked about. I know that I think it's going to be based on whatever latest financials you might have had in file, or whatever financial, even if they're interim financials for 2019 that you may have from your accountant or from your CPA. So a lot of folks that I'm talking to, they don't have their 2019 taxes. They just have interim financials at this point. So the best thing that I could recommend to each of you guys and to the group is, listen, get whatever information you can. I know there's a backlog, in talking to your accountant or your CPA. Get as much as you can, even if you don't have a complete package per se with 2019 taxes. Get whatever you have ready so that you can apply for this if you choose to go under that option. I know the SBA program currently, the disaster one, that you can go apply directly through SBA. I was telling Brian, super slow. And if you don't have a complete, package or what have you, they drop you, down to the bottom of the pile, and then you got to resubmit or probably not reapply because the information is kept there. But at the same time, it takes you down to the bottom of the pile. So this one, what they're trying to do, they just don't have enough capacity, is to give it to the banks, right? Just a bank like myself or any other bank as well, so that that we can work directly with the businesses and we can help with the package. So you'll have a lot of options, right? Whether you do it through me, you do it through your if you have a good relationship with a good banker, then that you trust, and go for it. But again, my best recommendation is to get all your financials as best as you can.
Hey, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Can you bullet point like which financials we should be recommending people start gathering ASAP?
This is typically what we would ask. I'm not saying this is what we're going to ask for right now, but I just wanted to share typically what if you're asking for a loan for a bank, most banks we kind of fall into this. We're going to ask for the last 3 years of taxes. We're going to ask for a balance sheet on your business, right? An income statement, an accounts receivable, and accounts payable, right? We're going to ask what does the debt look like, right? I mean, do you have any debt? Do you have any personal debt? Normally, most loans to they're going to be personally guaranteed, right, as well. So it's not just the business, but what kind of debt you're carrying. Some businesses tend to, depending on how it's structured, they tend to hey, I got my own line of credit that I'm using to support my business, or I got my line of credit with the business that I support my own personal needs as well. 3 months of business operating bank statements too. 3 years of personal tax returns, right? Again, this is a little fluid because a lot of folks don't have tax returns from 2019, but I'm sure you have taxes now. Look, they may streamline this right now and say, hey, look, just give us your interim financials or just give us the last year. But I'm just telling you, this is what normally what I would ask you to kind of give me so that I can review where you stand and do a calculation on how much you qualify for.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the worst case scenario. Like if you get all this, you might only have to show 1 year or something instead of 3. But if you get all this ready, you're good.
That's exactly right. So if you take a screenshot of it, what have you, I mean, if you got this is not happening, and this is normally what I would ask someone, just straightforward. Hey, let's work on a loan together. So again, it's pretty straightforward when it comes to that, and it's just an application, and most banks follow this kind of criteria in order to gain enough insight on what the status of the business is financially.
So for this loan calculation, they're taking your payroll expense and multiplying it by the annualization times 2.5 times, right?
That's what it looks like.
Do 1099 contractors count in that?
You know what? I read that last night, and it was in part because we took these bullet points from the bank, from the actual draft that they have that's on the table to be signed. But last night, I haven't been able to find it. I'll verify that. But last night they said that yes, 1099 folks were going to be included, and they were going to be able to participate on this.
Okay, and then the second question is like, if I'm a single owner operator and I've just like I draw money whenever I can, does that count in it?
You mean are you eligible to apply? Is that what you mean?
Or does my draws or the money I'm paying myself, it might be 1,000 this month and
for the loan
4,000.
forgiveness?
No,
for the loan forgiveness portion of it.
No. Well, yes, for that, but also for like how much we qualify for a loan. So like, let's say I pay myself $3,000 every month as an owner, but it's kind of a draw.
Distributions, not on payroll.
Does that 36,000 count as my base payroll for the 2.5 times calculation?
I'm gonna double check on that. It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that as well, but I will find on that because there's a lot of operators that exist themselves, right? I mean, there's a lot of professionals too, attorneys and others that they've actually inquired about that. I don't have a clear answer for that. Here's my checklist, just in general, and I can email this to you, Brian, just to kind of give you an idea of what banks are looking for.
Okay, so if somebody applied for a EIDL loan or that what do you call it, disaster loan from SBA, and they've got a loan kind of in the works, can they switch it over to this one, or do they want to cancel it, or what would they do?
I wouldn't. I believe that the SBA loan that you can go right now, through the site, right? The SBA. Have you guys looked at that by any chance?
Briefly.
The SBA disaster loan site. I can share that with you guys too as well. Hang on one second. No, I wouldn't, to be honest with you, because one of the things that you want to do is you want to be able to that particular, the SBA program right now, it's being really impacted. They just don't have the capacity to really kind of handle the volume of people trying to apply through it. I mean, people are not getting through. They're not getting back to it. This is supposed to be streamlined because this will be done through the banks themselves. We have the infrastructure, right? All banks have the infrastructure to do it if you're an SBA preferred, versus the SBA that, you got, hundreds of thousands of people trying to apply at the same time. So if you went through that, I would continue, through that process at this point, because I haven't seen anything there that says you got to do one or the other. I think that there was a section here that I was reading that says that you actually, could continue with that. I was telling Brian too the other day that the LA City actually has its own program. I think it's like a micro loan that they call it. I don't know if you guys have checked that out. It's up to $20,000, and I mean, again, there's a little criteria that you have to apply through, but they're still going to ask some questions behind how was your business doing before, and has it really been impacted, during the coronavirus, and you got to be able to at least show something there as you go through, because it gets assigned to a case manager, a loan manager, whatever it is, and then you still have to walk and talk through that as well. But if I was you, if I was in your shoes, I would do both. That's what I would do.
Are you allowed to do both? I thought you can only do one.
You're talking about the SBA. You're talking about the SBA program, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm understanding that if you already started that process, that doesn't exclude you from applying for this new program that's going to come out. This is not even online yet, so that's why a lot of folks that have already applied, they're not going to stop their process until, because what if one allows you to to get the funding versus the other one, right? Those early folks that are already in the system.
Yeah,
that's my understanding behind that.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is, I mean, don't stop the application process. I think
right.
At the end of the day, you can only choose one, but if you're already down the path of the disaster recovery application, don't stop it. Continue, and then just do it. You're already gathering all the same information, and probably more information than this new CARES one that's coming into play. It's just going to be a tough decision if you get approved for that one and you're still waiting on, the the government to come out with the final guidelines for this new one.
Right. This is the just to be clear. This is the one I'm obviously referring to, right? The disaster loan assistance program. So if you already started that process, I mean, it's, you know, again, it's painful, you know, from what I understand some clients, because this thing should take, you know, a couple of hours to get it done, and some folks are just, you know, the pages are just so slow at this point. I haven't tried it myself the last couple of days, so I don't know if they've gotten better with their servers. But I wouldn't stop the process. I would start this because listen, the other one that, you know, this new thing that's going to pass through Congress is still weeks away. I don't care what they say. By the time they implement, even if it passes, you know, by the end of the weekend, they're still going to be weeks away. We still need to get guidelines from the government. We still got to implement it. But, you know, it's just that's why I'm trying to get the word out. Like, you know, get your financials as best as you can and your story behind, you know, ready to go. And if you're able to go through this program here, then go through it. You know, if you're having a hard time during the day because everyone's on it, then you know, do it late at night or, you know, middle of the night, whatever. Maybe it's easier to do it there. I read somewhere as well.
Okay. So Carlos, you probably don't know the exact, obviously, but when you say weeks, do you mean months? Like weeks is in like 3 to 4, or weeks is in like 5 to 6?
So
you know,
for us internally, we're getting ready, you know, right, because we're you know, staying very close to this. We're getting ready, you know, with everything, right? You know, what is our application going to look like? You know, who's going to take care of what territory for our underwriter? So my best guess, guys, and again, this could change by the end of the day or Monday. My best guess is that folks will be able to start, you know, able to apply in the next 2 weeks. That's my best guess, right? Because, you know, again, we already have the infrastructure we do loans, right? Banks do loans at the end of the day. It's just that what we need is the actual criteria, underwriting criteria that we talked about, right? I mean, we can get the financials, but you know, does everyone qualify, right? You know, did you have a bankruptcy, and does that matter at this point, right? If someone has a 600, you know, score versus a 700, does that matter? So those are the things that, from a bank perspective, we need to get from, you know, from the government, so that we can go out, because ultimately we got to follow that criteria. My understanding is it's going to be much relaxed than what we normally would go through, right? Because we actually, the government is like, the money's there. We want to pass the money along. We want to do it as quickly as we can, so that folks can, you know, continue to keep their doors open and keep their employees. So at this point, I don't have the criteria, but my best guess is in about 2 weeks, I think you're going to start seeing a bunch of folks like myself and other banks like, hey, you know what, let's apply, let's get everything in. So I think there's a little bit of time to get the financials ready, but no one can apply today because we don't have criteria yet. No one has it.
Right. So we're probably looking at a month before the application process starts.
I would say we'll be ready to take applications, but by the time you can actually start seeing something, it'll probably be a good month.
Yeah.
That's a good guess. I wouldn't argue against that.